So Carissa, thank you for taking the time to sit and talk with me about the program. We're going to be talking about the Lambert Academy Professional Cake Designer Certification Program. It's a mouthful. And you are in your last day. You've got the last day tomorrow.
Yep, unfortunately.
And I want to get your feedback on this. So maybe we can start off by talking about you. So maybe introduce yourself with your name and what you do and all that stuff so people know you.
Sounds good. Well, my name's Carissa and I'm from Cochrane, Alberta, so a little bit from here, but not too far. It's not that bad. And I actually have a family, a son, a 1-year-old son. He just turned 1 a couple months ago, and he is the apple of my eye. Basically, my main occupation is a stay-at-home mom. I take care of him all the time, except, well, for the past 5 weeks, because I've been here. But I mainly started baking because of him, and now because of that, and it's something that not only I love to do, but it's something I can do with him, I am hoping one day to get my kitchen all set up and be able to start my business from home.
Fantastic. So let's talk a little bit more about that, about your kitchen. We're going to come back to your son in a minute. So right now, do you have a kitchen set up?
Right now I'm in the process of it, so we're under construction.
So tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, right now, so when we first moved into the house, the basement was quite large. I didn't really know what to do with it. It was unfinished. And about Thanksgiving last year, I started baking, and I just fell in love with it. And I did not want to go out and rent a suite. I didn't want to have to go out and do the extra driving, and it's so much harder with my son because I want him to be able to be a part of it. And
Right.
He can't be that much when I'm driving however long to go to a place and paying extra. So I actually kind of sat in my basement one night and looked around and kind of thought of a plan in my head. And I was talking to my parents about it because I've never done any kind of construction in my life. I'm just not that person. So they thought we could do it, and there's planning for the bathroom down there, so I was like, perfect, we could put a sink down there, because my upstairs kitchen, when I started baking, it was a pain. It was a horrible pain. I hate baking up there. So we started getting it all figured out, and we ended up drywalling the walls, kind of blocking off all the rooms in the basement, and it just slowly but surely coming all together.
That is awesome.
Yeah, I'm really
So
excited.
the things that we plan to talk about in the business portion are really going to be helpful for you.
I'm thinking so, because, you read a bit, like I've read through everything, all my regulations that I need, all that, but there's still a few more details I'd like to know more about that they just are pretty broad on the website versus what I want to know. So.
Sure, yeah, well, and that's why we do it. We teach what we know, what we've done, and you're planning home-based business.
Yep.
We're home-based business, we teach that. I feel so
Awesome.
good about that. And I mean, let's talk about that for a minute. We've had people who have wanted to join Lambert Academy, but then when they find out we're home-based business, they're like, oh, hold on a minute. That can't be real. So I want your feedback on what's real, because my understanding of home-based business is, and this is going to apply to you as well, it makes sense because you're already paying for the building.
Exactly.
So we went out and we just recently priced, Starbucks had moved out on a McLeod Trail, right beside A&W. And we priced that out, and that was almost $8,000 a month before leasehold improvements, before any utilities, before employees, before supplies, before anything. $8,000. Boom.
That's crazy. That's more than my mortgage. Like, way more than my mortgage.
It's more than most people's mortgage, unless you live in a like 15,000 square foot home.
Exactly.
So to me, I would rather put that money in my personal pocket as opposed to paying a landlord, right?
Exactly.
And as well as traveling, like everything you said, makes total sense. And so here's my question. Obviously, when you walked up to the residence, it's a residence, so that's not going to feel like you're going to a commercial school.
Yeah.
But then once you got into the studio, it should really be no different. Inside walls in a commercial building, inside walls in a residence, because we've got a separate entrance, everything else. Did it feel like a Did you feel like you were getting professionally taught?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you walk up and you just see the house, and you walk inside and you're in a completely different environment. Like, we don't even see your inside of your house. You walk in and it's completely blocked off. You have your bathroom, your cubbies, and you come right downstairs in the kitchen. It's beautiful. I love it. I love every bit of it. It's so organized well and everything. And like you said, there's no point in paying $8,000 a month. I'd rather bring home $8,000 a month and be able to do more with my family and be able to have it right there. And especially if I'm making a cake and my son's playing upstairs with my mom or something, like, I'm right there if something happens.
It's a
like,
total
it's
lifestyle
huge.
choice, right?
Yeah, and like, we've always rented since I moved out, and I've hated it. I hate landlords. I hate dealing with them. There's so much issues that can happen.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas it's like, if it's under my roof, I can handle it. You know, like, it's up to me what happens down there. It's up to me if I
Total
want
control.
the walls pink. Well, they want it. They can be pink, and that's
Well,
important.
absolutely. And if you even just think of travel time, how much life are you adding? Now, let's say
Exactly.
you can't get anywhere in the city in under half an hour. Not really. So let's even just call that an hour a day. I mean, and let's say you take weekends off, which you may or may not in the beginning. Hard to say. You probably just get so into it, and well, depending on your focus, which we're going to find out, you'll have seasons, right?
Oh yeah.
And so you'll have a busy season and a not so busy season. So in your busy seasons, you probably work a lot. But
Exactly.
adding those hours back to your life, I mean, you just walk, you're in your basement. So
Yeah.
downstairs, that's your commute.
Exactly. And right back upstairs, even for lunch, anything, like, I'm right there. It's like, I want a sandwich? Okay, we'll take a break and I'll walk upstairs and I'll make myself a sandwich, eat, and come back down. Like,
Right.
it's so much nicer. And even down here, like, being down here in the basement, you would never know that it was in a house. Never. And I've
No.
seen commercial kitchens where they're in an actual rented out building, and they're just kitchens, you know? Like, even at
Absolutely.
State and stuff, like, they're
Yeah.
cool in the sense that you have lots of room, but
Yeah.
otherwise they're basically exactly what this is, but they're paying triple the costs.
More.
More,
Yeah, absolutely. Because when you think about a home-based business, your business is paying for a portion of your mortgage.
Exactly.
And you're paying a portion of your business mortgage, right? If you want to think about it that way, in your costs.
Oh yeah.
I love the idea of home-based business. To me, it doesn't make sense unless, your plan is to be in retail and you want to have that bakery or that studio or whatever it is. That's different. But as a lifestyle choice, I
It's so
mean,
much smarter.
yeah, it doesn't get any
I
better.
think so, at least.
So you were talking about the kitchen.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your experience in the kitchen. Like when you first came down here, your initial impression to now that you're fully integrated and know where everything is, and you can get any supply you want. Let's talk about that.
Well, when I first came here, I believe it was January, and I was pretty intimidated because I basically made like 4 cakes at the time. I was just kind of dipping my feet into the water.
And you started off taking hobby classes,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Yep, I think Art of Buttercream was my first class, and I walked downstairs and I was like, this is so cool. Like, I'm freaking out in my head because it was so gorgeous and it was what I wanted to have, like I would dream of having that.
Yeah.
And I was really intimidated at first, and I was like learning all these new techniques and blown away by it because everything that I was doing before that I thought was easy was so hard, and I was taught ways that completely went around the hard process and helped me out a ton. So that was really cool. So I wanted to keep coming back. So that's when I saw this program too, and I read everything I would learn, and it was stuff that I only dreamt of learning at the time. So I was like,
Right.
I really liked it there. And then I met Lisi in my next course, and I just loved her. She was so sweet. And of course, your little pup monkey. He's pretty awesome. But I loved the whole environment and everything, and I was hoping that one day maybe I could get a job working with Lisi, because what her work, like, I mean, you can even just look around this room, her cakes are phenomenal. Like, they blow me out of the water every time I see them. And I remember Sweeney Todd scared me so much. He looked so real in one of my classes. I swear he was watching me. But from now, I'd say now I'm comfortable here, really comfortable. I love being here, and I'm not gonna lie, when I started this course, I was really nervous because I haven't been away from my son for longer than a couple hours since he was born.
Right.
And to be away from him for 5 days a week for 5 weeks. That was really scary for me.
I bet it was.
And when I first started here, my first day, I went by so fast I didn't even notice. Like, I missed him, but it wasn't
Sure.
hard on me. And being here more, like, it was like just coming to another one of my homes. It felt like, like it wasn't felt uncomfortable at any point, or I missed my son. I always miss him, but it was a lot easier on me than I thought it would be. And it was just the environment I was in, the people I was around. It helped so much because
You're kept pretty busy.
exactly, and we're always on the go. Like, days go by so fast here, and it's like you look at the clock and you're like, oh my gosh, it's lunchtime, and you have to go and get lunch, and it's just crazy how fast it goes. It's actually,
Right.
I kind of wish it didn't go so fast.
That is what everyone says. Nobody wants to leave, and
Exactly.
they just fall in love with Lisi, and just like you said, they become very comfortable in the studio.
Yeah, it's awesome here, and just I love how a lot of programs. I took a couple at SAIT before,
Mm-hmm.
and I was filled in a class of like 15 plus people, and I was almost teaching the people at my table how to do stuff and being like, I think this is what you do, because the teacher isn't coming around to us, and is either that or you'd have to buy this supplies that was so expensive. And at the time, I was just starting out. I wasn't even sure if it was something I wanted to do.
Right.
So when I came here, and Lisi's like, no, you don't need all those tools. Like, here's literally something you can get at the dollar store that does the exact same thing. I loved that because it's actually someone who cares about what you're doing and why you want to do it and doesn't want to push you away from it because of the costs. So I
Right.
love how, like, I can go to the dollar store now and it's like, oh, hey, I know what I can use that for, rather than going into, like, a PM hobby and seeing, like, the huge price
Yeah.
tags, and then I feel like a lot of people just get nervous and back
Yeah.
out of it.
Or even the hardware store, get all kinds of
Yeah.
different tools that you just
Who would've thought?
wouldn't make that connection.
No,
Yeah.
I never would have made any of those. I would have still been buying built-in products, paying a bunch of money for things that don't even work as well as I want them to.
Well, that's their business. One aspect of their business is selling tools, and that's okay. That's not our business.
Exactly.
So, Lisi's philosophy was that a long time ago, before we started this program, when we just taught hobby classes, the philosophy was that you don't need to spend all this money on tools, and you don't need to have a tool for the sake of trying to mask the fact that you can't do the technique. You need a tool. Well, she can just teach you the technique. Most times
Exactly.
the tool becomes so cumbersome once you know how to do it. It's like, why would I waste all the time filling this thing up and cleaning it and doing whatever and
No, exactly.
breaking it? And okay, so you are a young person. Do you mind telling us how old you are?
I'm 20 in 2 months.
20 in 2 months.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. So you're a young person. That would stop a lot of people. A lot of people would hear themselves, that little critical voice in their minds saying, I'm too young. Some people say I'm too old too, so this is the same thing. What did you have fear? Did you have any internal things holding you back? Did you have any family that said, maybe you shouldn't do it? Or let's talk about all that.
Yeah, I did. Actually, when I was 16, I moved out and I worked full time while going to school. So that was,
Wow.
I remember being really scary for me. So I kind of had to deal with just ignoring people who would have negative comments. And we had our son last May. So negative comments have been around us
Right.
for so long. But basically, my biggest driven force is I knew as soon as we found out we were having a baby was I needed to do something to support him in the best way I could. But I knew as soon as we had Kylo that I didn't want to be leaving to a 9-to-5 job to do that. I wanted to
Right.
find something that I could do with him. So I finally started coming across baking magazines and just, doing it for fun. And then
Mm-hmm.
when I found this course, actually, I was talking to my mom about it because I knew she would have to be the one to watch Kylo for me. And of course, that's a lot to ask. So I was talking to her about it, and she was telling me how it might not be a good idea, just with everything, leaving Kylo for that long. She didn't know if she could do it and all that. But I just had kind of a little gut feeling in me telling me that, I had to go through with it. I had to, because for once, I actually found something I liked, and I was excited about going to school. And anyone who knows me would know that that is not something I think I've ever said in my entire life.
Right.
So when I actually found something I loved and I could go to school for it, I really wanted to, and I felt like I could help Kylo when he's older and he feels like he's nervous to do something or people are holding him back, that I could tell him just to go for it and just do it if it makes you happy, because that comes first.
And you've already proven that in a great example.
Yeah, and I like to hope I did, because I definitely no regrets at all. Coming to this course, it was phenomenal for me, and it was nice to do something for me for once, because any mom knows out there how hard it is to do stuff for you and to put
Absolutely.
you first. So
Absolutely.
that was definitely one of my biggest struggles, was putting me first and telling myself, like, this is for me now, but down the road it'll be for Kylo too, because this could actually supply us with an income, and I'll be doing something I love, something I can do with him, all of that. So I had to kind of push past feeling selfish for being here and just go for it. And as soon as I was here, I realized again why I was here and why I shouldn't feel selfish for that, because I mean, my boyfriend works at Toyota 9 to 5 every day, and he doesn't feel selfish for that because it pays the bills, and this could end up being that as well. So I ended up coming here, and mainly for my boy and my family.
That is so good. So good. How was Lisi as a teacher?
She was great. She was honestly, like, probably one of my favorite teachers ever I've ever had. I love how any question you can ask her to, she doesn't make you feel dumb about it. And, like, it could be, like, I've asked her probably some of the most simplest questions that I should know, and I just happen to forget, and she always just tells me. She doesn't make me feel bad or anything. And when I'm doing something, too, I love how I'm like, this isn't working for me, there has to be something doing wrong, and she jumps in right away and is right there to help me with everything. And the stuff she showed me is so cool, and her little hacks and everything with what she does to, like, make things faster or work better or anything or cheaper. It's so amazing, because that's definitely something huge for me, is I want to be able to work fast and work for as little as possible, like supplies wise, you know? And finding little loop arounds like that have been so helpful, and her advice and everything, it's been incredible to be able to, and to hear her stories on how she started baking, and then look around and see these, that just really helps you believe too that one day you could be this good. So I love having her as a teacher. I'm definitely going to miss her lots.
Do you feel that she was prepared?
Incredibly prepared.
Good.
In every single way possible. Yeah.
And was there enough content for you?
There was so much content. My brain at the end of the day would just sit in bed and I'd just think of all the stuff I could do. Every day it was like new things I would learn that I didn't even know some of the stuff you could do. Like the edible printer, printing food, like that is so cool. And I just lay in bed and think about this stuff every night and be like, I could do this now. I could do this. And I love going through and I see a cake on Instagram or Facebook and I see and I'm like, I'm going to ask Lisi how to do that. I'm like, I think I could do that. And she's like, oh yeah, definitely. And tells you exactly how you would go about doing it. And I love that. I love how simple she makes tasks that seem very hard. And it's right there to help.
That's definitely one of her gifts. She can take the most complicated recipes. In fact, when we're doing them, we do a lot of keto stuff, which is off topic, but similar. And she'll take the most complicated recipe and go, why in the world are they doing all this? And take something like 15 steps down to 3.
Exactly.
And makes the same thing.
And twice as fast.
Yes.
I love it. And like even I'll be making things that I've been making them that way for months. And she comes up to me and she's like, no, do this. It's way faster. And I'm like, mind blown, because I'm like, oh my gosh, you just saved me like 20 minutes of my time.
Yeah. And
20 minutes doesn't sound like a lot, but when I have my son here playing with a bowl on the ground just to keep him entertained and I'm trying to get this done as fast as possible, that's important for me. And that 20 minutes could be spent playing with him over on a cake. And as much as I'd love to spend days on a cake, it's just not realistic for me to do
Or all those 20 minutes add up, and that means every additional 20 minutes you're getting paid less.
Exactly.
And that's important.
Yeah.
To be paid a proper wage.
As much as possible.
And you can decide exactly how much that's going to be.
Exactly. That's pretty cool. Never been in a job like that before.
That's called being in business for yourself. So, where do you see your business going? I mean, obviously, you're making room for growth and change and all that stuff. But in the first part of your business, you're starting in your basement. Are you going to go through all the Alberta health regulations and all that? Or are you going to try to go under the radar?
No, I plan on going through all the Alberta health regulations.
Good. That's what we teach. So many people don't want to do that.
No,
even
it's
a few
important.
past students, by the way.
Yeah, I don't want a $30,000 fine coming at my door. I don't need that.
No, and you don't. the biggest thing about that, and I'm just going to say this, and you're doing the right thing, so I'm kind of preaching to the choir, so to speak, but so many people that, like, we'll take the odd student, not very many, because we drill it into them, the odd student will still go under the radar. And, I understand that maybe they rent and they can't get a kitchen in their home, but there's other ways to get a kitchen, in which we're going to talk about a lot of that tomorrow. But we teach them that. And then I'll follow up and I'll be like, hey, I would like to interview you to, kind of do what we're doing here, but like the update, right?
Yeah.
Now this is her now kind of thing. And they're like, well, I'm still doing it out of my kitchen. I'm like, what? The problem with that is you will never get your business to the level that you could, because you're always hiding.
Exactly.
And you can't promote it, and you can't go out and make the best income and charge the prices that you should charge and be as aggressive in your business and get it out there if you're always hiding, always afraid of Alberta Health and everything. And that's not for you.
Exactly.
That's for somebody out there that's thinking they're going to do that. Eventually you will get caught, and it's just not, even if you never get caught, it's not worth it.
Exactly.
Because in your own heart that you're not legitimate, and that's meaningful.
Exactly. It really pushes you a lot. And I find too, like, our kitchen got to the point where it was like, our kitchen went from our kitchen to my baking kitchen upstairs, and it was overflowing with stuff, and I was getting so frustrated having to sort through everything and be like, where's this, where's that?
Yeah.
And so when I did actually come here and I saw how much Lacey had everything all sorted out and her little drawer with all her little tips in it for piping bags, I was like blown away. I'm like, I need this, because I do love doing this, and even if I turn out to not be in a business, it's just to have fun and do it.
Yes.
I need something to do this. So when I finally took out everything from my upstairs kitchen and brought down all my baking stuff downstairs, it was like all of a sudden I had a brand new kitchen upstairs, because it was all emptied out. And then I got to actually organize it and everything, and I put in all these different bins, so when my kitchen's done, I can just simply put it all away. No one gets to touch anything down there but me. And I'm excited about that, because that's huge for me. Or my son being like, what's in this drawer, and pulling out everything, and it's nice to not have to worry about any of that.
Right. Yeah,
so
absolutely.
That's a big thing for me.
Absolutely. That's great. So I'm just seeing if there's anything that I missed. So if there's someone out there that's considering this program, maybe they take the challenges you've overcome and they're using it as an excuse. Sorry to say that, but we all know you can tell yourself any story that you want. There'll be somebody like you that will say, how can I do it? How can I do it? Compared to the person who uses that same story as an excuse. So if that's somebody there now watching us, what would you say to them?
Mainly to not focus on what's making you not want to do it, but why you want to do it. I find always focusing on the why behind everything will push you more than you know. So for me, I could have definitely freaked out and thought to myself, like, oh, well, it's so selfish of me to leave Kylo. It's not okay to put that on my mom for 5 weeks. But then I thought about it, and I'm like, I'm doing this so that one day, hopefully, my business gets to the point where my boyfriend can be home more. He's not working all the time, so we can be together as a family more, to be able to do things with my son more, because it kills me seeing all these families and they're forced to work while the kid's at a daycare or something, and I never wanted that for Kylo. I want to be able to be home with him, and that why pushed me more than anything else. So I always find looking at that over anything else will drive you, and if you don't have a why, think about why you're doing it for you. Then what even made you want to look into that course? And if there's any even self-doubt, come look at the kitchen, because that would have sold me if I had any doubt, was looking at the kitchen and meeting you guys. And that's really what it comes down to. And everything here, like, before I wanted to open my own bakery and one day have that, K-Pop's Cakes, an actual bakery, and now I just want to learn. I want to travel and learn eventually and save up so I can go to France or Berlin and learn from all different people. I'd love to work for Duff one day and starting here is definitely a huge thing for me because I've learned so much in just 5 weeks.
Well, we'll put this video up and you can tag Duff on this video, and
That would be awesome.
Duff, she's got good skills.
I would love that because that is phenomenal. The detail work, everything he does. He reminds me of Lisi because she focuses a lot on detail. And you look at her cakes, and I love cakes where you can look at them and keep looking at them because their detail comes out so much more. And I'd love for Duff to teach me one day and hire me. And I'm even at the point now where it's like I just want to learn so much to the point where it's like I would be totally happy being an intern where I don't even need to be paid. I just want to learn everything and get more experience in the cake industry, and maybe down the road, maybe once my son moves out, we'll look into opening a bakery. But right now I'm happy with my soon-to-be home-based business and just learning more as I go.
That's great.
Yeah. That's
great. So anybody that's interested in Lambert Academy professional certification program, you can go to lambertacademy.ca, click on certification program and look at it, read about it. And yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate you coming to the program. Appreciate you allowing me to interview you. And I appreciate the fact that you're going about the business the right way.
Of course.
You're doing it, getting all your certifications, you're building out your kitchen. Let's talk, that's one thing we never talked about yet, your vision for your business. We talked about your family, we talked about how you got there. What does the vision look like? Let's close off with where you're going, what you're doing. Tell people, so maybe there's some customers that are checking you out. She definitely has the certification, definitely has the skills in case you wanted to know. So now that they know that, and they're just saying, well, I'm going to check her out and see if she can make me a wedding cake or whatever it is. What and this can change. Maybe she's got a different focus, but as of right now, your plan is?
I love wedding cakes.
I
love them. Don't get me wrong, I love kids' cakes, stuff like that. Like, I love birthday cakes. They're still fun to do, but my biggest passion is sugar flowers and making wedding cakes and huge, big cakes. Like, I love them. I just love making something that's so beautiful, and especially sugar flowers. There's something so peaceful about petals and the wrapping of it, and then looking at it after and having people be like, oh wow, like, is that real? And being able to be like, no, I made it. And that's so
hilarious when they have to touch it to see, right?
Yeah, and I love it. My mom actually cries when she sees some of my stuff. And as much as that's not entirely my goal to make my mom cry, it's pretty nice compliment when she does.
Very proud.
Yeah, and I love doing that. I mean, I've been planning my own wedding cake for months now. And just thinking of it, there's so much I want to try. And I love wedding cakes, and I'd love to be a part of someone's day like that.
Right.
And to see the look on a bride's face when she sees what you created for her and everything. Like, that's
one of the most important aspects, other than the people, obviously.
Yeah.
But the cake is key. Dress cake, probably, in that order. Or
that's
ring, dress cake. I don't know.
Probably ring in there too, I would assume.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. I love them. I have such a passion for them, and it's so much fun. Like I said, I love other kinds of cakes, but wedding cakes are definitely where I want to steer towards. And not just do wedding cakes. Like, I love different trends that come out, like the geometric trend and stuff. And you would see with my cake in there, I love looking at trends and thinking of ways to twist them to make them my own, but still sticking within the trend, but to put me different from everyone else. And that's what I'm trying to do with my cakes now. And I've actually gotten a few pieces of styrofoam at home, and I just want to start playing with wedding cakes, doing all that, because there's something about them that I just love doing. I love them, probably more than any other cake I've done. I love wedding cakes.
Perfect.
So yeah, one day
Excellent.
I'd like to major, I guess, what we call major in wedding cakes.
Yes. Major in wedding cakes. So she majors in wedding cakes, and they're not only going to look awesome, they're going to taste awesome.
Of course.
Because we know the recipes you're going to use.
And they're great recipes. Yeah. They're so good. Every day I get asked by my entire family if I'm bringing home cake today. So, they're really good.
Well, thank you again.
Thank you.